connectivity and community and what it means. Mr. Bazar Puja said, what does the ASEAN Economic Community even mean? And who knows about it? And what he was saying, I think, is actually where we need to begin. Can we do it? Now, it's true that we built lots of roads. It's true that we built lots of bridges and ports and factories and things that made things. We created an education system. We created a collection of laws to protect us. But we didn't get where we got without institutions and without a community and an understanding. In one world now, we are all one community. We don't always act like it. Sometimes we act as though we are divided by our differences more than we are connected by how we are the same. But today, something exists that we didn't have in the United States at the beginning. You can communicate to anyone around the world instantly. The United States is 3,000 miles from one edge to the other, about the same size as Indonesia, and it used to take 3 months to travel from one side of the United States to the other. It still takes too long to go from one side of Indonesia to the other, but it doesn't take 3 months. The world has shrunk down dramatically. We have a rule at the U.S. mission to ASEAN, and we don't always live up to it, but we try, and that is we do not talk anywhere without young people in the room. We don't do it. We don't do it because all the work that we are doing is for the future. It's to protect the present, but it's for the future. And that's why I accepted the President's request for me to be the ambassador to ASEAN, because I have children. They're a little older than you, not much, a little bit older. And I care about the world that comes for them. So what institutions did we create? We had terrible corruption at the beginning of the United States. We talk about the corruption in ASEAN, and it's very bad. But we had very bad corruption. The truth is, we still have some corruption. But we implemented laws to try to manage the corruption, much the same way that Indonesia is trying. There were 240 million hectares of forest. 240 million hectares. Today, we cut it all down. Except for the redwoods. We saved some redwoods. But we cut it all down. Today, there are 300 million hectares of forest in the United States. 60 million more hectares than there were when the country began. Because we planted trees, recognizing how important it is. And so, as I said, we planted trees, we passed laws, we tried to do away with corruption. We created an educational system so that everyone got an education. We connected the country with roads and bridges, and now, of course, we connect the country with technology. But we still have a long way to go, just like ASEAN has a long way to go. So when we talk about connectivity, what we really need to talk about is all of those things, because they all are going to be necessary in order to create the future that we want for you and for young Folly and for my children. And it's going to take all of us to do it. All of us working closely together. So we try to have conversations here about our mistakes, what we did wrong, and what we learned from it. Sometimes people say to me, well, Mr. Ambassador, America made lots of mistakes. I hear you say this. We have the right to make our own mistakes. And my response to that is very simple. No, you don't. And the reason you don't have the right to make your own mistakes is that when we made the mistakes, we didn't have anybody to look back to tell us that we were making mistakes. Today, it seems obvious that you shouldn't cut down all of your trees. we're going to make our own mistakes so that we can fix it later on, the same way that you fixed it. So we hope that there's some lessons that the United States has to teach, and also the way we can be partners with ASEAN to help make a better future and avoid some of the mistakes that we made. One thing that's happening in ASEAN right now is dams are being built. Now, dams create green energy. Dams sound like a good thing, and some dams are. In the United States, we're tearing dams down. We understand that some of the dams that we built are not a very good idea. So we try to help create the conversation in ASEAN as to how to avoid the mistakes and how to find the future. I was just recently in a Southeast Asian city, and I went there to see a group that is involved with historical preservation. Because while we find the future, we need to preserve the things in our past that are valuable to us, that tell us who we are, that are connections to those that came before us. We don't simply want to sweep everything away to find the future. We want to keep our past, things that were very important to us. So I went to this group. It was a historical society, and they're having a lot of trouble surviving as a group. There's a lot of people in their city that simply want to tear everything down and build what they want to build wherever they want to build it. In the name, by the way, of connectivity, in the way of the economic community, they say this is necessary. And so I was talking to this woman who's been trying to approach the urban development of the city more carefully, problems, and to work together to solve them. That common language is the language of ideas, and why ideas work, and how they create the future for us. And that's the common language that I am here to help ASEAN with, and to listen to ASEAN about what ASEAN wants to do, to partner with my ASEAN friends. And I believe that's also true of other countries in the world who are coming here in order to try to help that common language, to find that common future together. It's a privilege.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Dr. Garden, for the excellent presentation on the U.S. perspective. In particular, you touched on the historical background of the United States, based from the, and then we're talking also about the present and the future. There are several points that perhaps could be utilized for our discussion today, to enrich our discussion today, which very important. Some point I noted with interest that education, the role of education is very important system, and also the preserving environment and empowering women and development is very important, because United States now, I just now from you, Ambassador, that in the United States there are 381 languages. Perhaps all the people around the world coming to the United States and speak in different language. So perhaps it's also one entrance to the United States common and diversity, common future. I agree with you that we are speaking in common language to determine common future. You speak very eloquently that common language is very important. It's meant that we are talking about the common perception among the United States and ASEAN. Now, I give the floor to the audience. Sekarang saya berikan kepada para peserta, bloggers di sini, untuk menyampaikan pertanyaannya. Mengingat waktunya di sini ada 30 menit. Mohon izin Pak.